Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Everquest Old School. Now in this episode, we're going to be here at the Orc Camp in Eastern Commons. We've been here for a while actually, but it's the realistic way you're going to be spending these low levels is to find a camp that you enjoy, that gives you a decent experience, that you can actually find other players to group with you to kill, and then you're going to sit there for quite a long time. That's the way this game works. It's not quite like other games that may just be running around all the time. This one, you find a nice spot and you get used to it. Now, it may take you a couple of days, a week to get past these levels, depending on how much you play, how good the groups are, how good the experience is in those zones. But at higher levels, you may find that you're in a certain zone for a month or longer, trying to get past a certain level or certain set of levels before you can move on to the next area. And moving on to the next area is usually not your goal. Your goal is usually the loot. You're sitting there camping a guy either for money or for experience. And then the added benefit is that you actually get to sit there and talk to people and learn from them and you know, just enjoy their company. I guess I'll go ahead and loot these. I got in my way. I wasn't planning on looting. I was actually going to look around. They want me as the pooler, as the tank. Let's see if I can pull these guys. Bring it back to me. And that was pretty easy. Let's see, that one's red. There's no way I'm taking that one on. 2 reds, or 1 reds and 2 yellows. That's probably too high for these guys. So we're just going to continue to pull trash. Go ahead and grab this guy. Come on, go attack. There we go. See if I can toss this on him. And then tell my pet to back off. And bring him back here to the group. And then send it back in. It's pretty easy to pull as a Necro in zones like this. At later levels, Necros don't usually pull with their pet unless they're trying to fatigue death, and then have maybe a monk or something like pull off 1 or 2 of the creatures as they cave back. You know, it's like a chain pull basically. Doesn't happen too often, but it can be very useful in certain zones and certain places. If you're able to do that, if you have 2 people who are very skilled and can work together to do it. Because both of those classes get fatigue death, and therefore if a pool gets out of hand, they don't have to sit there and die. They can actually, you know, just fall to the ground and basically survive the fight and just let it, you know, reset and retry over again. Let's see, what level is this? That one's green. Griffin. Looks at me threateningly. That's probably way too high. It's cool looking though. Don't remember a Griffin actually being over here. Oh, somebody's gonna fight him. Dope sound. I'm gonna zoom in so we can actually see that. He's not losing very much life. But the Griffin sure is. Okay, let's see if there's anything we can pull around here. Oh, there's a snake. Let's go ahead and grab it. Now I cast Clinging Darkness on it just to slow it down, so it's not at full, you know, throttle when it finally gets here, although it did resist it, I think, right there. I don't even think people notice my pet is getting attacked. Come on, pull it back. great. We're getting attacked by multiple things. Go ahead and heal my own pet. Remember, you can do that with Mend Bones. There we go. That thing's almost dead as well. Grab that snake since it's right here, and we're doing pretty well with this group. We have a druid for a healer, we have a mage and enchanter, and we did have another necro, but I think he left because he was too high. I have to heal this guy up. He's getting hurt bad. It takes a few seconds. We're about to die here. Nice. Anytime, guys. I lost my pet there, unfortunately. And I need more power before I can even cast another one. Second might be enough. Let's see. Nope, not quite. Need a med up. Oh great, I'm about to die here. As you can see, the poison can be pretty strong. And wow, this is gonna suck if I die. And I'm dead. So that sucks to die from a poison, basically. Well, we're gonna go ahead and med up and run back. I'll let you guys watch. Usually these runs are kind of boring, so I cut them out so that you guys don't have to see them. But you know, it's part of the game, and for those of you who might want to watch, you know, a corpse run that isn't incredibly complicated. This is pretty straightforward. It's just time-consuming, basically. If you want to remember the old days of the old CRs that you would have to do. In most of the new video games, when you die, you spawn back someplace safe with your body and all your armor, and you may take some armor damage and things of that sort, but it's usually not that big of a deal. So let's go ahead and put Bone Walk on, put that right there. Put our Mid Bones on as well. It's a pretty useful spell. Let's see. Deadeye, Vampiric Embrace. We don't really need any of these other ones. Let's go with Clinging Darkness. Actually, no, we'll take that one down. Put it in the wrong spot. Life Spike goes at the top. Let's see, Poison Bolt. Let's see, we want Gate down at the bottom. That's what I always have for all my characters. Disease Cloud, because it stacks. I guess I can put lesser shielding on since I got an open spot for the moment. Now usually you'll put all your buffs on first, buff yourself up, and then take them off and put other things back on. Let me tell my group. So I don't have any bone chips, unfortunately, so I can't cast another pet until I get back to my body. I guess he or she's leaving because she felt that she let me die because she wasn't healing fast enough. I didn't blame her at all. That stuff happens, you know. Granted, they weren't paying as close attention as they could have, but the fault doesn't completely lie with them. I didn't tell them something was incoming, I didn't, you know, say in group chat, hey, could you guys help me out here? I'm gonna die, I got poison on. Something along those lines. So I'm not blaming him or her, whoever that might be. And preferably, I wish they hadn't left the group, because now we're a little bit weaker, and maybe somebody else might leave. And if you know, somebody else leaves, it will start a trend, and that can go really bad very quickly to end the group, basically. So I mean, you know, it's just like with anything, people get frustrated and then say, you know, maybe I can find something better someplace else. But usually, if you can stick with it, the groups tend to normalize to start working as a cohesive group once they get, you know, their rhythm down and things of that sort. But not always. Sometimes you get into those groups that no matter how much time you give it, it just ends up being a waste of time. Just you die over and over and again, and you end up with like 15 or 16 corpses there waiting for a healer to be able to come and res your guy. Hopefully get that experience back. But those are really far and few in between. Most of the time, you get mediocre groups, and the super rare ones that you look forward to are the groups that are just outstanding. Those are the groups that when you get into, you know right off the bat, because everything's going so smooth, and you're able to do things that you just normally aren't able to do. And then you're always trying to push yourself because it's been so long since you've been in that group, and there's places you've been wanting to try out, or that you've heard about that have really good loot, but they're a little harder than most people can go to around your level, or just period go to at all. And then you're like, hey, let's go check those places out. And with groups like that, man, you can really go to some places that you've been dying to go to check or get some loot, and those are just great. Those are memorable groups that you remember forever. And you remember those people. Usually you're at all those people with your friends list, hoping that one day you can get them all back together. You may be able to get one or two together here and there as friends and stuff like that, but you usually never get that magic back because it's a one-time thing. You know, it's a pug group, it's a pickup group. Very rarely happens, you know, over and over again. But sometimes guilds can start that way. You know, people grouping together, finding out they're good matches, that they work well together, and you know, really start working together to take out some of these higher level zones. That's the whole idea behind alliances or guilds, is to find people that you mesh well together with. And there's all sorts of guilds out there that you can join. You know, there's ones, the ones I prefer are the ones that are family friendly. In their chat channel, they're not talking about things that, you know, maybe a rated R or 18 or above, I should say, kind of thing. And they're there to help you out. Like if you run into a problem and you're like, hey, what's the spawn timer and so, you can ask them. And they're more likely to respond because they're part of your alliance, your guild. And they know that you will respond to them if they asked a question as well. They may not always have the answer, so their reply may be, I have no clue. But at least they will, you know, say that. Whereas if you ask in chat channel, yeah, there's a lot of good guys out there, a lot of good people who will respond to you. But sometimes, you know, you ask a question that's kind of important to you, or sometimes really important to you because you've been camping the same guy for, you know, 3-4 hours, and you're wondering if you're doing it right, or, you know, there's some question that's burning in your mind, and you don't want to log off to check the internet, or you just can't find it online. Usually you can find pretty much anything online these days, but in the old days you couldn't, so you would ask out in the chat channel, and sometimes you just hear crickets. Nobody would say anything, and you're like, oh, thanks for the help. But sometimes it depends on the time of the day that you're on. If there's not a lot of people, you may not get a response. So it's just nice to have that guild as a crutch, basically, a backup to help you out. As you can see, the run is not too difficult, but it is a little bit of a ways to run back. And this is one of the short runs. If you can imagine running, you know, 15, 16 zones because you forgot to bind yourself, it happens. You know, it's sucky, but it happens. Let's see, where's my corpse? There it is, underneath the lion. Now, I always loot from left to right, going down, because that's the way it is in your backpack, or in your inventory for your backpacks. If you do that, they will be as if you had it. Let me cast this real quick before something attacks us. attack so easily out here so quickly. Sit down and med up a little bit. Now, they're saying Xano right here wants to join, but the leader was dead. So it may take him a couple minutes to get back here. We need good healer. Good healers are hard to find. A healer who can actually keep up with your fighting at this level is even harder because, for one, you're so low that you don't have a lot of power. I mean, even if you got a twink and you maxed out pretty much everything he can have as high as he can have it at that level, he's still a low level. So his mana pool is still going to be dramatically smaller than a higher level person. To boot that, or to add on to that, I should say, his heal spells suck. They're very low level heal spells. They don't heal for a lot of health, and they cost a lot of power. You know, on top of that, so him trying to keep up with you if he doesn't have some kind of clarity or KE ion is really difficult to do. Chances are, unless the tank is a tweak as well or an alt with really good armor on, the healer's going to have a difficult time keeping up with you. What I've found in groups that really do very well at this early stages is you have two healers. You have you know, either two clerics or a cleric and a druid or a shaman or somebody else who can heal early on to share the load, because one person really can't handle it all, especially if you want to keep pooling the way or as the speed, I should say, that are you accustomed to or that you want. You know, you want to be able to level pretty quickly. I guess let's go ahead and attack that. Get some experience going before people start to leave. Sometimes, you know, if something is not going on and people are dying, and people aren't making that experience back, or they don't see like the momentum is there, people are being lazy, you know, they start to feel that the group has lost something. And will easily leave. So it's not just you know, finding the right balance between your character or finding the right balance in the zone to hunt there and get experience. You also have to remember that you're hunting with other people, and they have their own needs as well. So you got to keep that in mind. It makes you a good leader, I would imagine, because you're constantly thinking about other people's your requirements and wants and needs. Yeah, he should be leader. He died at our feet. She died again, or he died again, or whatever that character is. Looks like a male character at least, but he's back finally. I'm sure he's happy to be here finally to make some more experience. And usually there's a lot of roamers, but there's not so many on tonight apparently, because that's all we're hunting. We're not actually hunting any of the orcs. The combination of the two, I guess, is what overwhelms most groups this stage. And those are too low level to give us any experience. If we had a good tank, we might be able to take on the camp. It would really depend on what level and how you know, equipped he is to be able to take those guys on. We have the spot for it. We just... Oh wait, we got a monk right here. He might be able to do it. What level is he? Yellow. So yeah, he should be able to do that easy. All we need is a healer now. Yeah, monks can take the hits rather decently. They're not the greatest tanks in the world, but they're pretty good. But they can dish out the damage really well. He's going to kill that quickly. Go ahead and pull that over. Or he's going to do that regardless. Or maybe not. At least he can fight it over there. Preferably, you know, as the pull or the tank, you want to pull it back. Because as you see, a lot of people over here are not, you know, paying attention as well as maybe they should. But some of their spells You know, because you can't blame it all on them. Some of their spells have a very low range, that they have to be pretty close to the guy. So, rooms that you normally camp are pretty close quarters. Like I said before many times, you find a corner and stay in it if you're a caster. So you're within, you know, a 10, 15, maybe 20 feet radius of the creature in a room like that. Usually the rooms are a lot smaller, so you're pretty close. You're within the action. And that's why the pooler has to bring it into the room, find a corner of the zone opposite from the casters, turn it away from the mob, and fight it there. And he has to be very careful with the corners he picks, because in some zones they have a bug, or maybe they meant it to be that way, or when the creature you're fighting uses an area effect or some kind of spell, and it goes through the wall and hits creatures on the other side, they will then come running through. So that it's kind of weird that, you know, something could go through a wall, but then at the same time, if you're trying to think logically about magic or a video game, you know, you've probably already lost the battle already, just starting out. So you just have to accept it. That's the way it is. May not be right, may not, you know, agree with it, but it's not a whole lot you can do about it. Let's see if I can grab this. Oh, there's a bear over here, too. He's not worth anything, though. Okay. Bring it back over here to the group. Here it comes. Give it a few seconds for my guy to taunt it off of me. And then don't sit right back down. If you sit right back down, that creates a little bit more taunt, a little bit more aggro. Give him a few seconds, and then sit down. And of course, if you're in a group, it may not be that big of a deal. You don't have to wait as long because you have other people creating, you know, aggro onto that creature besides just you. But this guy's looking for a group. He's not a healer, but maybe with 2 monks we might be able to do it. And the downside to a monk as a tank is he doesn't have a taunt, unlike anybody else like a Shadow Knight or a Paladin or something along those lines, who has a dedicated button that he actually doesn't have to do any damage whatsoever. He just pushes a button and gains aggro on the creature. And at later levels, when you get really high in your skill, that taunt is greater than pretty much anybody else damage that they can do. Light Angel, let's join the group. Oh no, they tell the group. Don't exactly what that means, but okay. It's green. Let's send it in here and grab it real quick. And he may be able to pull one. He does, maybe not this low, get Fatigue Death, so he can pull a whole bunch and then stand back up and bring over like only a couple. I don't know what level they get it at. I haven't gotten mine yet, so there's a good chance he hasn't gotten his yet either, but... Snug Gems, level 6 Cleric is LFG. That's looking for a group. For those of you who are not familiar with shorthand of EQ or MMOs in general. Back it up. There we go. Now, so even if they do have their face planted in a spellbook, the noise alone will let them know that a battle's going on. And you may be like, well, you got plenty of screen, you can see what's going on. Well, the truth is that in the old days, what is it, like 65–70% of your screen was this big blocky mess that I actually kind of miss sometimes. I'll have to see if I can find the UI and put it back on. But it took up most of your screen. The whole left, bottom, and right-hand side of your screen were taken up with this big gray mass that had your spell bar and all this other stuff, and then just a lot of solid, opaque walls that you couldn't see past. And then in the middle, top part of your screen was the screen, or the actual viewing that you could see the creature and the zone through. So take like a 50-inch monitor and shrink it down to like, I don't know, 12 inches. And that's how much of the actual game you got to see through. So not a whole lot that you could, you know, really do with that, you know, to see a lot. And then, of course, if you were at a low level, you had to med. You had to put your spell book on, which I'll show you is this thing right here. And when this thing popped up, it would take up the rest of your screen. So you would have all that big blocky mess around the outsides, and then this thing right here in the center, and you literally would see nothing else. So you could see your chat down here on the bottom, and then your spells right here. And unless the leader, or not the leader, the puller told you he was pulling, you'd have no clue that it was incoming, unless you heard something. And another thing about that, which is kind of cool, is that it kind of forced you to talk to people because there was nothing to look at. I mean, you were just looking at your spell book, which was kind of boring if you ask me. You've seen it a million times. You know where everything was. If you were bored, you would sit there and reorganize it and move the spells around, which a lot of people don't even bother doing anymore. So it has changed the game a little bit, but for most people, you know, there's not very many people out there who are like, they miss that, because it took up so much of the screen that it was really annoying. And the game is so beautiful in its own kind of way that, you know, people wanted to see what was going on. Who wants to play a game where all you look at is a book, you know? I mean, that's the old style mud type games, the text-based ones where you're just reading a story basically, which are good in their own right, but not what people were looking for when they picked this game out. They knew what the game looked like, and being able to be immersed into that was what they were playing for. So, got a couple of lions over there. Oh, here's a snake. There we go. Oh, that sucks. My friend here, Groupie, is over in Cornor's Castle tonight. He found a group rather quickly, but apparently it's one of those that's kind of, you know, on the fence. His actually seems more towards the downside, the lower side of the success rate, you know, for a group, unfortunately. It sucks pretty bad for him. I know you can die quite a few times in a group like that. Let's see if I can send this guy after him. Nah, he's too far away. Can I send it after? I'll wait for him to bring something back. Let me reply. And he may not actually be dying a lot. It just may be a very disorganized group that just can't really seem to handle anything, but they don't quite all, you know, die every time they try to do something. I'm gonna drop so you guys can do some fighting. I don't exactly know what that means. I gotta pull my pet back. I don't know what he's doing. Somebody else heal my pet too. Well, he got him down to about half life. That's pretty good just for himself. Yeah, it does really kind of suck when that happens quite a bit because So do we have room for all? We might have a really good group coming in. I'm not really paying too close attention, unfortunately. You know, because sometimes you log on and there's no groups to speak of. And then you find one after, you know, in the old days, I'd wait anyways, like some other people, you know, 2-3 hours waiting for a group, and finally you find it, and you're like, oh, here it goes, right? And then you see other groups forming at the exact same time. A lot of people just seem to be logging on all of a sudden and getting things going, and you get into this group, and you're going down to a good room, and then things just fall apart, and you're like, that sucks, because you could have joined one of those other groups that now are doing far better than you are. And it's just like, it's just the bad luck. And instead of getting good experience after all that time, a lot of people will just log off. But if you can stick through it, sometimes you come out the other side far better. But most people will just, you know, log off and be done with it. I don't mind dying to my own stupidity, but others, well, you know, everybody makes mistakes. Snagums. This guy out as much as possible. Now, whoever does the most damage, I believe, gets the experience. It's not like in other games where whoever gets the first hit, and then the fight is locked, nobody else can help out. Anybody can help anybody out in this game. Unfortunately, that does bring a problem of kill stealing, which is basically a higher level person sitting there and basically killing the enemy far faster than you're able to because of his level. People spills. Now the truth is, as a healer or a cleric, I was pretty good. I mean, not great. Not gonna, you know, say I was, but I was pretty good. I went on plenty of raids. To later expansions, and for the most part I did just fine. Sometimes I did really good, but I did have my off nights where it just seemed like everything I tried to do just did not turn out at all very well, and people would die. I'd feel horrible because at later levels clerics get you know, complete healing, and it takes 10 seconds to cast it, so you have to actually time. And you have to pay attention to how hard the creatures hit certain tanks, and then try to time it so that you can cast it just right. You don't want to cast it too soon, otherwise it heals them completely, but you lose all that power that you could have gotten out of that heal. If you heal them too late, obviously they die. So you want to get it just right. And sometimes that's very, very hard to do, especially if an ad jumps in halfway through the fight. You may not get it off just in time, so you got to take into account for that. And maybe if you can afford the power to cast it a little bit sooner than you need to, but you know, it's really sometimes you just have those off days. Everybody's have them, even not in just the game. It's just in real life. Go ahead and pull that back, or no, we can fight it right there, I guess. Go ahead and cast my engulfing darkness on it to slow it down from running. So they're going to try to pacify or lull. Now, normally you don't want to just keep rambling on and doing something else while you're in a group. You want to pay attention to what they're saying. I'll be doing some melee with J Mace. Still got to hit level 8. Okay, so they're getting ready to attack. So I won't pull anymore. I'll just assist. And I made a little button down here that's assist for those of you who are not familiar with it. /assist. And you just click on whoever your tank happens to be. I believe it's this little guy right here. Snug Gems. Who's dead now. I don't know how we picked up that black bear. That was just... Oh wow, we lost a couple people here. Probably all gonna die, because this guy is resisting pretty much everything I have. That's pretty much it. At least I can try to heal him. It's gonna not work. In fact, we can try running. Might, and I stress the point, might be able to get far enough away. Except we're running pretty slow. And we're over encumbered, so yeah, we're not gonna get away in time. Gonna die here any second. You can hear them running after us, and they're running pretty fast, and there we go right there. Now, if we had fatigue death, this would be the perfect opportunity to use it. You know, you get a little ways away from them. You can do it right in front of them, too, but if they're not chasing after you, it works a whole lot better, and here we go. So that's going to be the second death tonight. As you can see, it's not going very well for me, not going very well for Groovy, but that's just sometimes the way it goes, unfortunately. So we're going to go ahead and end the episode here. I'll go back and get my body, see where they want to go. If we go over to Befallen, I'll go ahead and make another video of us going there for the first time since we got back, which will be very cool because that's a pretty cool zone to go to, actually. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you guys for hitting the like button and subscribe if you like these videos. Every single one of those helps. It helps build my channel. I'm hoping to get into actually making more videos for different types of games, you know, new ones that are coming out and things of that sort, and to actually get those games be sent to me to review. You know, I need a high subscription rate, and I don't want to do the little cheat thing where I subscribe to somebody and they subscribe to me. I kind of want to earn it the old-fashioned way by actual people who enjoy my videos. So if you do like these videos, I would appreciate you guys hitting the like button or subscribing if you feel so inclined. If not, you know, I don't want to pressure you guys into it. But thank you again for watching, and I hope you guys have a good night.